Welcome to this week's episode of Financially Speaking. As a local family-built firm, Buska Retirement Solutions, along with its affiliate companies Buska Wealth Management and Legacy Tax Solutions, offer one-stop retirement, tax, and legacy planning services to families nearing or already enjoying retirement. Sue Buska is president of Buska Retirement Solutions, a retirement planning company helping develop financial, Medicare, and health insurance strategies. Over a decade ago, she partnered with her son, Cole Bruner. Cole, an investment advisor representative that's held to a fiduciary duty, is president of Buska Wealth Management, a fee-based registered investment advisory firm providing financial planning and investment management for individuals and businesses. Legacy Tax Solutions offers personal and business tax planning and preparation services. Their enrolled agent, Carl Van Setters, is a military veteran with over 10 years of accounting experience and is committed to maximizing your tax credits wherever possible. Over the last several years, Sue and Cole have continued to grow their team of private wealth advisors to meet the increasing demand of retirees seeking guidance. In 2018, Ryan Connor began serving clients at their Eau Claire location. At their Wausau location, Logan Wooler became a part of the team in 2020. And in 2023, Sue's daughter Kaylee Berenson joined the firm. As a family-built firm with offices in Wausau and Eau Claire, their dedicated team of professionals have the experience to provide custom-tailored strategies to help you achieve your long-term financial goals. The next 30 minutes will be filled with retirement information presented by their team in a simple manner that you can understand. So stay tuned because Financially Speaking starts right now.
Can you still work while you're drawing Social Security?
Today, I want to talk about presidential elections and how they affect your portfolio or not.
Today, Logan and I are going to be talking about saving for retirement after 50.
And now for our weekly question and answer segment.
Welcome back to Financially Speaking. Today I'm here with Cole and Kaylee from Buska Retirement Solutions and Buska Wealth Management. Now I've gathered some questions for us to answer today, but if you are interested in seeing your questions answered on a future episode of Financially Speaking, just email us at info@retirewithbuska.com. All right, guys, today we're going to talk about Social Security. Thank you for joining me.
Of course.
Yeah. So we're going to get started with a question I think everybody should be asking, but they're probably not.
Sure.
Kaylee, can you tell us a little bit about, can you still work while you're drawing Social Security?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can still work while drawing from Social Security. They do set limits on the amount that you can earn while drawing from Social Security before your full retirement age. But we have a lot of clients that they retire and they decide to start collecting their Social Security and they figure out that they missed the workforce. So they go back and they get a part-time job and fill that void of missing that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's happening more and more. We see a lot of clients that are, just finding themselves lacking that, whether it be purpose or social interaction or whatever it might be. So you do have to be mindful that if you are going to go pick up a part-time job, that you are going to have limitations on how much income you can generate.
So let's talk about those limitations.
Yeah.
How much can I earn from working before I start incurring a penalty?
So this year, right now, it's $22,320 if you are between 62 and the year that you turn full retirement age. Now, the year in which you turn full retirement age, that limit does go up considerably, and that would apply from January through your birthday, essentially. But once you hit that full retirement age, which for most people nowadays is going to be right around age 67, they have the ability to then make as much money as they want from employment and not have to worry about it. And the one thing that we always remind clients that often is misinterpreted is it's not any source of income that you're limited by, it's only earned income. So a lot of people ask, well, my pension count, what if I draw from my IRA or my 401k? Is that going to put me in jeopardy of reducing my Social Security? And the answer is no, that would not. It's just if you go out and work, or if you own a business of some nature, or if you have ownership in a business, that could put limitations on how much you can make from that venture without without potentially reducing your Social Security. And if you make too much, you could reduce that Social Security all the way down to zero, or you're not collecting any more until those income levels go back down again.
Yep. But we want to optimize our Social Security.
Of course.
So there are penalties to be aware of, but there could also be benefits. Kaylee, can you talk a little bit about the benefits of working part-time while drawing Social Security?
So some of the benefits of working while drawing from your Social Security could be that we don't have to tap into our retirement accounts as early on in retirement. So that could benefit us because then those retirement accounts are going to continue to compound and grow over time. So when the time comes that we no longer wish to work, or maybe we no longer can work, then the retirement accounts can supplement that income at that time. I think it can also benefit us in providing some fun money. So maybe we can take that vacation that we've always wanted to, and now maybe we have the flexibility because we're working part-time or occasional, as opposed to being tied down to our career leading up to this point. Going back to what Cole mentioned about the socialization, I think that's huge for retirees and their mental health, just to keep up with that, whether that's through part-time work or maybe volunteering in the community, or even just setting up regular meetings with their friends.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really important. A lot of people do tend to lose some of that connectivity to the social networks and all of those types of things because, let's face it, when you're working 40 hours a week, you're spending time with a lot of different people, especially for those that aren't working from home or are in an office somewhere or something along those lines. And so certainly if you lose that, sometimes you can lose an element of purpose to a degree. And so a lot of people have gone back into the workforce mainly just because they want that socialization. It's not even about the income per se, but a lot of people do really enjoy the flexibility that comes with that part-time employment. This is the first time in someone's life that now they make the rules when it comes to when they want to work and how much they want to work. And if they want that Friday off, they can take that Friday off, So I think that gives a lot of people that empowerment to still stay engaged in some capacity in the workforce. And obviously fringe benefit, a little extra income comes in the door, but at the same time, it also keeps you in control so you can dictate how much you want to work, when you want to work, and all of those things. And that can be really empowering too.
Yeah. Are there any drawbacks?
Well, obviously some of the drawbacks I would say would be you do have limitations on how much you can make without negatively impacting your Social Security benefits. You also want to consider taxation. Obviously the more income you're generating, the more you're going to pay in taxes. And a lot of people sometimes don't realize that your taxation of your Social Security benefits are going to be based on how much income you're generating. So the more income you bring home, the more potential tax you may pay on your Social Security benefits. So obviously you want to be mindful that your income from employment isn't, costing you equally as much in taxes. So you're working for free unless, you're just doing it for the social acclimation and all of those types of things. But there certainly are some components that you're going to want to address with a financial professional just to make sure that you're going into it with eyes wide open. Because a lot of times we don't realize one little thing that we do or that we change could affect multiple other components of our financial life. So obviously, as we always say, partnering with a qualified financial services professional is really going to help you to see some of these potential blind spots that you might not even be thinking about or even realize could affect you.
Yeah. I think I learned a lot about Social Security today and the things that we're maybe not thinking about when it comes to working while drawing Social Security. So thank you both very much.
Absolutely.
And thank you for joining us today in this segment of Financially Speaking. Stay tuned for more after this.
Close your eyes and picture retirement for a moment. What does your dream look like? Would your days be filled spending time with family and friends? Maybe you desire to volunteer or work a rewarding part-time job. Or do you envision traveling the world? Whatever your dream consists of, Buska Retirement Solutions can help you realize it. Call or go online to schedule a complimentary consultation today.
You've worked hard to save money for retirement, but wouldn't you rather thrive and not just survive your golden years? My newly released book, Golden Rules of Finance for the Golden Years, offers key tips for managing your retirement money and ensuring you have a more complete plan to make your retirement dream a reality. Call 715-355-4445 or visit bushkabook.com to request your complimentary copy today.
now, our Financially Speaking weekly topic segment.
Welcome back to Financially Speaking. I'm Cole Bruner from Buska Retirement Solutions and Buska Wealth Management. Today, I want to talk about presidential elections and how they affect your portfolio or not. The upcoming presidential election is already dominating the news. While many people presume if their preferred candidate doesn't win, there will be a negative economic fallout. More than 90 years of economic history tells us something different. An Investopedia article titled "Investors' Election Year Worries Could Be Overblown," experts say, notes that its own survey determined that 61% of investors who responded said they're concerned the election's outcome will potentially have negative ramifications for their portfolios. But are people right to feel that way? First, let's talk about something that most of us experience at least once during every election cycle: election anxiety. Election anxiety significantly outpaced concerns about both the continued conflict in the Middle East and a possible recession. Interestingly, the article cites a nationwide survey that found 68% of Republican investors think the election's outcome will have an immediate and direct impact on their finances, while just 57% of Democratic investors think it will. Yet, while it's perfectly understandable that investors and savers will feel anxious during election season, historical trends suggest there may be very little reason to be concerned. Moreover, while the past isn't always a good predictor of the future, data suggests that investors should feel optimistic about what our upcoming election may mean for their bottom line. Next, let's do some Financial History 101. Data tells us that markets have generally risen during presidential election years. In fact, the S&P 500 has shown positive returns in 20 of the past 24 elections going back to 1928. That's growth in just over 83% of presidential election years during that 96-year stretch. Now, as for the average returns during those election years, it was 11.58%, which is higher than the S&P 500's average return of 9.81% for every year since 1928. Now, this suggests that while election years will always be a big news story, after all, we are choosing the leader of the free world here, elections have historically had modest bearing on the economy and the markets. So what should you do? Well, it's simple. You should make sure that you're sticking to a strategy. The article quotes a financial services professional who shares an opinion that investors shouldn't make big portfolio decisions just because of the bluster and noise of an election season. Instead, be mindful, be prudent, and perhaps most importantly of all, stick to a financial strategy. The article also quotes strategists from New York Life Investments who urge investors to expect our upcoming election to bring with it plenty of splashy headlines, but to ignore it because all that breathless hyperbole rarely translates to economic impacts or shifting market outcomes. Instead, maintaining focus on things like the fundamentals of elevated interest rates, moderating inflation, and recovering profits should empower long-term, diversified portfolios to continue moving towards the investor's long-term goals with confidence. So let's do a quick recap here. First, there's no evidence-based correlation between the political party holding the presidency and the stock market returns. No matter how much you may support one party and fear the other, the data suggests companies typically find ways to make money and produce positive returns. Second, while past performance is no guarantee of future results, the stock market has had more positive years than negative since 1926, with the most significant negative years being the Great Depression in the 1930s, the tech bubble burst in the early 2000s, and of course the Great Financial Crisis that ran from 2007 to 2009. Now, this demonstrates that significant negative market conditions are statistically less likely to occur than positive market conditions over time. And third, your behavior, not election results, are far more likely to determine your portfolio's performance. So before you make any moves, you should contact a trusted financial services professional. Now, before I sign off, I just want to note that individual investors aren't the only ones who get nervous about politics and geopolitical issues. In an article titled "CEOs Say Political Uncertainty Poses Greatest Risk to Business Growth" by Investopedia notes that a survey showed that CEOs believe political uncertainty and geopolitical upheaval are threats to corporate growth. However, historical data showing market performance over the years provides comfort to CEOs too. Despite their anxiety about the future, CEOs report a positive outlook on the economy. More CEO confidence in the economic outlook was higher in 2023 than it was in 2022 and 2021. Now, I don't know about you, but there's some comfort in remembering that in the end, we're all in the same boat and have the same task ahead of us to keep calm and carry on. Now, I'm just about out of time for this segment. To review your financial strategy, be sure to contact our office today at retirewithbuska.com or call us at 715-355-4445. We'll be right back with more Financially Speaking after this. Have you heard the term fiduciary before? According to Investopedia.com, being a fiduciary means being legally bound to put your client's best interest ahead of your own. Did you know that investment advisors have a fiduciary duty to clients, but broker-dealers just have to meet the less stringent suitability standard, which doesn't require putting their client's best interest ahead of their own? At Buska Wealth Management, all of our advisors are fiduciaries to provide our clients more peace of mind. Call us today or go online to schedule your complimentary review. Taxes can play a significant role in retirement. After all, they determine how much of your hard-earned savings you get to keep and how much you send to the IRS. But if you're like many savers, you probably don't know the total taxes that you could end up paying. At Buska Retirement Solutions, we believe information is critical to making informed decisions. So I want to share with you a resource that can help quickly evaluate your potential taxes in retirement. Visit BuskaRetirementTaxBill.com to generate your personalized report. And once you've seen your retirement tax bill, let's talk, because there may be ways to improve those numbers.
And now our Financially Speaking weekly desk segment.
Welcome back to Financially Speaking. I'm Sue Buska from Buska Retirement Solutions, and joining me today is Logan Wooler. Today, Logan and I are going to be talking about saving for retirement after 50.
That's right. You may think that it's too late to start saving for retirement once you've reached age 50, but we're here to tell you that it's never too late. An AARP article titled 7 Steps to Start Saving for Retirement After 50 lays out the steps you can take to build up your nest egg.
Now, it may be ideal to start saving for retirement immediately when we join the workforce, but for some people, life doesn't work that way.
That's a good point, Sue. Sometimes younger people enter the workforce and don't make a lot of money, and retirement seems so far away that saving for it just doesn't seem like a priority. Or they may have student loan payments that make it harder to save.
That's right, and it's actually quite common. Now, the article notes that 25% of non-retired adults have no savings for retirement. So if you're one of them, you're not alone. Having said that, you may want to find a way to get out of that group.
The good news is that you can leave that group, even if you're not a spring chicken.
So what's the first step to start building a nest egg in your 50s?
Well, first things first. It may be a good idea to speak with a financial services professional who can recommend solutions for your specific situation. However, there are some steps that everyone can take. The first one is to review your budget and set up automatic savings.
That's a really great point, Logan. And go over your budget and see where you may be overspending and cut back. Put that money in savings. Now, one thing the article suggests is making a meal plan so you avoid buying things at the grocery store that you'll end up throwing out. Now, you may end up saving at least $100 a month.
If you're 50 and plan to retire at 67, that $100 per month adds up to $20,400.
That's right, and find more expenses to trim, and you could save even more.
Next, you may want to calculate a realistic savings goal and see how much you can save automatically on a consistent basis.
That's right, Logan, and setting up an automatic savings can be very helpful because you don't have to think about it. A CNET article entitled, "What is Automatic Savings and is it a good idea for you?" It makes a really good point about how when you save automatically, you teach yourself how to live on a smaller budget. Now, the example they give is that if you earn $4,000 each month and save 10%, then you learn to live on $3,600. And learning to live on a little less doesn't just help you save, it can be a good practice for when you're retired and you're on a fixed income.
Yeah, that's right, Sue. And I saw that article also said that automatic savings can help you build wealth over time if you put it in a high yield cash bank account because you can take advantage of compounding interest.
That's a great point. Plus, automatic savings means you don't have to worry about forgetting to save. And if you take money out, you'll start putting that money right back in if you're saving automatically.
So, what's the next step to building a nest egg when you're over 50?
Well, the next thing that the article recommends is paying down debt as quickly as possible so that you can free up more cash to save.
That's sensible. Paying off your mortgage by the time you retire means your expenses won't be so high and you won't need to replace as much of your income when you are retired. The article also recommends avoiding future debt. If you anticipate that you'll need a new car, you should save money so you can pay cash for it rather than take on more debt. You may be able to pay less for it that way also.
Well, those are all really good points.
So, what's next on the list?
Well, number 3 on the list is to set up automatic investments in a non-retirement portfolio. That way you can take advantage of the dollar cost averaging.
Sue, what is dollar cost averaging?
Well, that's a great question, Logan, and I'm going to use Charles Schwab's definition. Dollar cost averaging is the practice of investing a fixed dollar amount on a regular basis, regardless of the share price.
That's a good definition. They give a great example too. Let me just read it. Let's say you invest $100 every month. When the market is up, your $100 will be fewer shares, but when the market is down, your money will buy more. Over time, the strategy could lower your average cost per share compared to what you would have paid if you bought all the shares at once when they were more expensive than the average.
Oh, so my friend who puts $5 in an Acorns account every Tuesday is taking advantage of dollar cost averaging?
That's exactly right.
Well, dollar cost averaging makes sense then, because let's face it, we're not clairvoyant. We can't predict the best time to get into the market, but if you're consistently investing small amounts, you'll be in the market when it goes up.
Let's go to the next thing on the AARP's list.
Okay, number 4 on the list of ways to save for retirement when you're over 50 is to max out your retirement contribution plans, according to an IRS news release from November 2023. The contribution limit for 401ks is $23,000 in 2024, and people 50 and over can make additional catch-up contributions of up to $7,500.
That's $30,500 per year if you can put that much away over the next few years before you retire. That's $518,500 by age 67.
So there is hope, even if you've waited a long time to start saving that money.
That's right. Now when you crunch the numbers, you see that these amounts to taking about $1,200 out every paycheck, which not everyone can afford to do. But even if you can't afford to have that much taken out of your paycheck, see how much you can swing. Any amount may add up over time.
Well, that's great, Logan. And if you're not sure about how much you can spare, a financial services professional can help you determine that.
That's a good idea. What's number 5 on the list, Sue?
Well, number 5 on the list is to have an emergency fund so that you don't have to touch your retirement savings and incur penalties for early withdrawal to cover the cost if something unexpected happens.
If you receive a bonus, you can put it into savings accounts and start building up a cash reserve. When you get a raise, you can also put that into savings.
And the article also suggests that you have disability coverage so that if you have money coming in, if you can't work, because if you can't work anymore at age 50, it will be really difficult to make up for not having saved.
Good point, Sue. It's important to make sure you have health insurance and auto insurance too. Make sure you're covered so that unexpected events don't become expenses that take a big bite out of your retirement savings.
Okay, so if you've done all 5 of those steps and still need cash, you still have the option to bring in more money with a part-time job or by selling your stuff.
You'd be amazed at the things you may find to sell if you go through your attic. A friend of mine went through her attic and found all kinds of things that her in-laws had saved and ended up selling a collection of vintage birth announcement cards on Etsy.
Wow, I love that. Get creative.
That's right, exactly. There are creative people out there who will find all kinds of ways to make art out of things you've got laying around in your closet. Think like they do. You'll see and find things to sell all over your house.
Well, that's really a great point.
So, what's last on the list here, Sue?
Well, the last thing on the list is to work as long as you can. Every year you work is one less year that you need to fund with retirement savings.
That's a really good point. In this example, we gave age 67 as a retirement age just as an example, but if you can work beyond that, you may be in a better shape when you get to retirement.
Well, that about does it for this segment. And if you're getting a late start with your retirement savings and you need some guidance, contact our office today at retirewithbuska.com or call 715-355-4445. We'll be right back with more Financially Speaking after this.
Are you ready to make your retirement planning more stress-free? I'm Cole Bruner from Buska Retirement Solutions, Buska Wealth Management, and Legacy Tax Solutions. Between our three companies, there's a lot we can do to make securing your future easier. By creating a comprehensive retirement plan that incorporates retirement income solutions, investment management, estate planning, tax strategies, as well as health insurance and Medicare planning, you can retire with more confidence and peace of mind. Call us today or go online to schedule your complimentary review.
Close your eyes and picture retirement for a moment. What does your dream look like? Would your days be filled spending time with family and friends? Maybe you desire to volunteer or work a rewarding part-time job. Or do you envision traveling the world? Whatever your dream consists of, Buska Retirement Solutions can help you realize it. Call or go online to schedule a complimentary consultation today.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of Financially Speaking. We're glad you were able to join us today, and we hope you learned some useful retirement tips along the way.
On today's show, we covered a number of important topics, and hopefully we did so in a manner that was easy for you to understand. This is the same way we communicate to our clients when we meet with them in person. Remember, with the help of the right financial services professional, you can create a quality retirement, and our team is here to help. Right now may be a great time to get a second opinion on your retirement plan. Call us at 715-355-4445 or go to retirewithbuska.com to continue your retirement education, catch up on previous episodes of our TV and radio show, or schedule your complimentary, no-obligation consultation.
If you have any questions or comments about today's show, call us at 715-355-4445 or feel free to send us an email at info@retirewithbuska.com. Join us next week at the same time and same place for another episode of Financially Speaking.